We've got a special wonder kid for you guys today, a creative midfielder who within a few years in your save will be one of the world's best if you develop him like we do in this video. And the best part about all of this is he's only going to cost you around £1 million, if not less. That's right, we have a superstar for you today, someone that we're calling the next De Bruyne, the next Iniesta, whatever it might be, at full growth. Basically, he is an elite creative midfielder and in this simulation goes on to be one of, if not the best player in the world. He's got a good potential range, he comes at a bargain price, but before we show you him, if you guys do enjoy the video, please go ahead and smash that like button for us, hit the subscribe button as well if you enjoy this kind of content. We do an episode of this series every single week, and finally, make sure you comment down below what Wonder Kid you want to see next. And with that being said, we can get right into this player, who actually has a bit of a caveat about him, in the fact that he won't be available, as far as I'm aware, once the winter update comes out. So this is kind of your last chance really to get your hands on him, at least for this kind of price. And to find him, you're going to need to go to the second division of Spain, and then you want to go to Real Zaragoza. Now they have a youth team called Deportivo Aragon, and if you go into their youth team, you will find an attacking midfielder by the name of Jano Monserrate. Now, as mentioned in the winter update, I believe he will be joining Atletico Madrid, who have bought him very recently, so this might be a last chance to get him. I imagine in most saves at Atletico, he might not get the chance and you might be able to sign him anyway in a few years. But if you want him instantly, you can go to Zaragoza in your saves right now and pick up the Spanish 17-year-old for a fee of about £1 million. Now, this is him at his maximum potential of 170. His range is 140 to 170, but in other saves, even when his potential is like 150, 160, I've seen him able to be signed for about 500k. When you check him out, go to contract and contract details and you will find his release clause. In this case, it's 900 grand. In your save, it might be even less. Lowest I've seen it is 400,000. So for you guys, you could definitely get a bargain here. Now, the 17-year-old already comes with bags of ability in a lot of areas. He's a number 10 by trade. That's where he's natural and the only position where he is natural. So in this simulation, we're going to use the left-footed midfielder in that position. For you guys, feel free to retrain him wherever you like, but I really do think number 10 is the best place for him, with some decent physical and mental attributes, but very good technicals. He's got great set pieces, all at a level of 12, good first touch, crossing ability, long shots as well, technique and vision. You will see his passing is quite low considering the players that I compared him to at the start, but trust me, with a bit of development, he can be an elite player and a very good passer. You just have to train him right. So let's get on to that part. So we've used the editor to bring him over to our Real Madrid team, and he is going to be playing in this number 10 role in a 4-2-3-1 system as an advanced playmaker on the attack duty. And as you can see, there are no additional instructions on him. He is just basic as it comes in that role. Now, obviously, he's not going to be ready for Real Madrid straight away, but for the sake of the simulation, he will be, and don't judge his potential too much. A few years into this save, these star ratings will completely shift, and they are not a good representation of how good a player is. So make sure you do ignore them. But yes, Jano here is now part of our Real Madrid side. I would say straight away he's maybe good for, say, a championship level in England, and with some growth, even in a year or two, he will be ready for the Premier League. And to get him to that level, there's a few things that I suggest you do. Firstly, he is being mentored here. His personality might be different in your save. He might have less or more determination, but either way, go to training, go to mentoring, and make sure that he is being mentored by some of the more experienced heads at the club. In our case, we've got Luka Modric, Danny Carvajal. Hopefully they're going to help improve his personality, which is still at a decent level, being balanced, but it's his training where I really suggest you guys go for a specific additional focus. Usually I say to you lot, you know, pick whatever you want, think about the kind of player you want him to be, and of course that still stands true, but for Monserrate here, the real weakness in his game is that passing at this stage. So if you go ahead and focus on passing, within a few years, by the time he's 19, 20, that'll have increased tenfold to 14, 15 or so. But in this simulation, I'm not even going to use an additional focus. I leave it blank as I do with every simulation, and you're still going to see just how good he can become with the right kind of development. He's got great flair already. All he needs is a little bit of game time, a little bit of experience, and suddenly he will blossom into a phenomenal player. So let's see him after a few years at Real Madrid on the lowest end of his potential range. How good can he look for a player that only costs you 900,000? And here he is as a 19-year-old, and he currently isn't even at the lowest end of that potential. His current ability right now is sitting around 130, 135, and the lowest end of that potential is 140. So within a couple of years, he's already getting to about that level. Valued at £80 million is crazy. And the 19-year-old is tearing it up at Real Madrid. You can see he's improved in so many areas, particularly physically, and of course with that passing now at 13, great long shots, finishing, dribbling, all around improvement. He's got a few player traits as well, likes to try long range passes and shoots from distance. If you're going to make him a playmaker like we're aiming to, it might be a good idea to get some traits on him like tries killer balls often. Maybe once you've improved his passing though, I wouldn't jump the gun too early. But he is a very well-rounded player, now considered a 3-star player here at Real Madrid with a potential to get to 4.5. Again, that shows you just how poor the star ratings are. His potential was seen as a max of 3 stars, and now even though he's not even at the minimum of his potential, 3-star is his current ability. So it does show you, ignore those star ratings, because even though he was rated so low in season 1, he tore it up straight away. 19 goals, 11 assists in his first season. Mind you, he has been put on penalties, so take that into account. A lot of his goal scoring accolades will be penalties, but in season 2, there's 15 assists there, 24 goals, 10 of those were penalties, so that's still 14 goals and 15 assists from a 19-year-old with no special instructions on, nothing crazy. He's just on penalties, and he is absolutely smashing it with great average match ratings, really proving why he is worth that 900k. Even if he was half of the player, even a quarter of a player of what we're seeing here, he'd be worth that investment, because right now he is worth 80 million. 2 years time, we've nearly 100 times the fee that we've originally paid for Jano Monserrate here. But now it's time to see him at full growth. What kind of player have Atletico de Madrid potentially signed? We'll find out. Let's simulate ahead and see just how good he can be in his prime. Before we see Jano at full growth though, just to let you know, I do have my own YouTube channel linked in the description below. It's more FM content. We do some Football Manager rebuilds, as well as YouTube shorts about Wonderkids you might not have heard of, like Jano here. So if that sounds interesting, please do come on over, hit the subscribe button, and I'm sure you will enjoy what you see. More entertainment style as opposed to the informative stuff that we do here on FMSCOUT. So thank you to anyone who does check that out. But with that being said, let's see Jano at full growth. And what a player he now is. Physically, super well-rounded, great agility, the pace is there, the strength, even jumping reach as well. He's got an extra player trait in there as well. His passing ability is at the highest level, 17 passing, 18 technique, and 17 vision, combined with 17 long shots, 16 free kicks, 16 first touch, 17 dribbling. He can score with 13 finishing as well. Still got decent penalties, corners. A lot of his assists might even come from set pieces in the simulation, but we'll never really know without seeing every single game. Mentally, he is absolutely stacked in all areas, and is now considered a phenomenal player at the current rating that he is, which is 170 current ability. He's 28 years of age, somehow only has 13 Spanish appearances, has scored 3 goals in the times he has been called up, which seems a bit harsh, considering at 28 he's a £100 million player, only 13 caps, but in the league he's been absolutely destroying it, getting 20 odd goals, 25, 23, 26 in some seasons, getting over 20 assists in some years as well, over 7.7 average match rating in this season in 2032, consistently hitting above a 7.5 average match rating as well. Genuinely a phenomenal player, and he is a no-brainer at the price point you can sign him for. But let's simulate a few more years, get towards the end of his career, and see if he has won any of the big awards. And my simulation did crash about halfway through, so the latest we ever got with Jano was 32 years of age, but at this point, he is still an unbelievable player. 16 caps in the end, so in the next 4 years since you last saw him, he only got a few extra caps, which is very strange, but he is with the Spanish national team, and he has been doing amazingly well in the league since we last saw him. Some crazy numbers there overall, becoming one of the world's best players easily. Now, he hasn't actually won the Ballon d'Or, which I find particularly harsh. There's been a lot of Real Madrid players up for the award. Somehow our man wasn't in there though. Jude Bellingham's been sniffing around, but it seems like most of the awards have gone to this Italian striker. He's the goal scorer, but we all know all of his goals will have been coming from our assists from Jano. So Jano is the underrated player in this team, somehow doesn't get close to a Ballon d'Or in any year, which I don't get at all considering just how good he's been. Just shows you the game does tend to favour players that can score, but Monserrate here, £900,000 in this save, potentially even less in yours, and that's for for a player that has potential Ballon d'Or quality and within a few years will be worth 100 times what you originally paid for him. Check him out in your save, let me know who you want to see next, and I'll see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.